failed to produce any defense of Bennett and conceal his reports. Additionally, in June of 2013, Obama, Brennan, CIA operative...
Okay, we're going to try this one more time. I don't know what had happened. I'm not even sure if I'm live, actually. Yeah, it says I am, so we will check this and see. Give me a second. We will check. Alright, so before I get started here, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming to my channel and liking and subscribing to my backup channel. I'm going to build it too, and as for right now, this is let me just kind of explain what happened. Let me kind of for a while now, I've seen this video a long while back, so welcome everybody. I seen this video a long time ago, and it made sense to me, and I actually have had quite a few people, here lately say, hey, you know what, you need to do a story on this. And I was kind of waiting for timing, I guess. It just, everything needed to start to come out before I really just kind of put this on there. Some people might have seen it, but very few people. Look, there's not a lot. 32,000 people in the world has seen this video, and most of them wasn't even in the United States. So this video might explain a little more in depth of what's going on with all these indictments, and this is what happened before President Trump took office, when he was still debating. And I'm just going to let this play, and we can kind of chat and whatever. But I believe it's time that people need to see this, because it's going to start tying a lot of stuff together. The credits for this video is in the description, and I appreciate everybody for being here. I'm going to play this video, so give me 1 second to set it up, and away we go.
In return for the imprisonment of in order to provide the President General Jeff Sessions and the Inspector General obstruction of justice and redress of grievances. This is the intelligence which defined the illegal activity by the Department of Justice, by the FBI under Hillary Clinton, Robert Mueller, James Comey, Peter Strzok, Andrew McCabe, Jenny Rhee, and a variety of other people that were involved in a coup d'etat against President Trump. And this is the memo that summarizes everything. So in the event of my death, this will be an affidavit which can go to nations and people in the world to let them know what the truth is behind the undermining of President Trump and the attempt to overthrow him. Trump, President of the United States of America, the White House, care of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Press Secretary. From Scott Bennett, PhD, ABD, former United States Army officer, contractor, State Department coordinator for counterterrorism, terrorist finance analyst, Joint Intelligence Operations Center. Legal notice of evidence of treason and government corruption. Official request for presidential and congressional action. Dear President Trump, be advised you are hereby served legal notice that this memorandum and attached exhibits will provide you and your legal team with the evidence, witnesses, documents, and timeline needed to understand, investigate, and prosecute the current government corruption cases. This memorandum is essentially the center of the web that connects the current FBI, Department of Justice, Mueller abuses from 2008 to the present, and is necessary for exposing and synthesizing additional crimes into the present investigations of Rod Rosenstein, Robert Mueller, FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe and his wife Jill McCabe, Peter Strzok, FBI agent investigating the Clinton emails, and his co-conspirator and adulteress Lisa Page. Also included are Jenny Rhee, former Clinton Foundation attorney, and others. These investigations form a larger racketeering case and include unlawful and fraudulent FISA warrant and surveillance powers used for wiretapping for the purpose of concealing terrorist financing through the Clinton Foundation and protecting too-big-to-fail banks who belong in jail, such as Union Bank of Switzerland and its law firm Covington and Burling. Note, anyone including the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz with UBS or Covington and Burling connections should not only be recused and denied access to this report's materials, but should be included in the investigations as participants or witnesses to the UBS, Covington and Burling various corruptions in this matter. Cover-up of the State Department pay-to-play abuses and falsification of Russian collusions as FBI distraction operations. This memorandum should be used by the White House and Congress to investigate former President Obama, Hillary Clinton, James Comey, and Robert Mueller's knowledge of and role in the crimes listed herein, using the Office of Inspector General to generate investigations and evidence to be coordinated with Department of Justice military investigations. The Office of the Inspector General in the U.S. Department of Justice is a statutorily created independent entity whose mission is to detect and deter waste, fraud, abuse, and misconduct in Department of Justice programs and personnel, and to promote economy and efficiency in those programs. The OIG investigates alleged violations of criminal and civil laws by Department of Justice employees and also audits and inspects Department of Justice programs. Legal notice. Conspiracy to commit treason, abuse of authority and public trust, deprivation of rights, terrorist financing, obstruction of justice, and redress of grievances. Be advised, pursuant to 18 U.S. Code 4, Section 4, and U.S. 28 Code 1361, you are hereby served notice of violations of 18 U.S. Code 2339A, providing material support to terrorists. See enclosed whistleblower report, Shell Game, by Lieutenant Scott Bennett, U.S. Army, September 25, 2012. Exhibit 1, www.shellgamewhistleblower.com. All rights reserved. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that pursuant to 18 U.S. Code 2339A, whoever provides material support or resources or conceals or disguises the nature, location, source, or ownership of material support or resources, knowing or intending that they are to be used in preparation for or in carrying out a violation of Section 32, etc., or in preparation for or in carrying out the concealment of an escape from the commission of any such violation, or attempts or conspires to do such an act, shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 15 years or both, and if the death of any person results, shall be imprisoned for any term of years or for life. Be advised, you are hereby served to notice that, in fact, the death of a person has resulted from this terrorist financing violation, and therefore satisfies the legal requirement for, quote, imprisonment for any term of years or for life. in this instant matter. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that through this memorandum we are respectfully requesting a debriefing with the President to, 1, more fully and completely inform him and his legal team about these national security violations and crimes. 2, be issued a subpoena to testify with immunity and provide additional evidence to the Department of Justice, FBI, Inspector General, military, and congressional investigations. Legal notice, failure to reply. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that this report contains significant global national security implications, and that although not anticipated due to the gravity of the current constitutional crisis, failure by your office to acknowledge or respond to this email, letter, notice, and report, or any attempt by anyone to bury or conceal or cause harm to this report or its author and agents, will be interpreted and prosecuted civilly and criminally to the fullest extent of American and international law. And any failure or insufficient acknowledgement or response to this material will be interpreted both as a dereliction of duty and as follows. Number 1, a flagrantly treasonous and conspiratorial attempt to conceal the nature, location, source, and ownership of material support and resources to terrorist individuals, networks, and operations, and as such, an intentional violation of national and global security policies and laws, and a willful and reckless disregard and violation of your government oath to support and defend the Constitution, and an intentional act of misprision of a felony and misprision of treason against the United States of America, and a violation of United Nations policies and statutes relating to terrorist financing, and a conspiracy to commit racketeering, fraud, abuse of government authority, and other crimes against the Constitution and sovereign states. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that failure by your office to respond to this notice and report will be interpreted and prosecuted as a violation of 18 U.S. Code 2382, misprision of a felony, which reads, whoever owning allegiance to the United States and having knowledge of the commission of any treason against them conceals and does not, as soon as may be, disclose and make known to the same, to the President, or to some judge of the United States, or to the Governor, or to some judge or justice of a particular state, is guilty of misprision of treason, and shall be fined under this title, or imprisoned not more than 7 years, or both. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that this formal notification of crimes and provision of evidence, witnesses, and testimony confirming these crimes and request for a subpoena is hereby submitted for the record to the White House through the Congressional Office of Representative Mark Desaulniers, Democrat, California, and was originally recorded as an affidavit in his office on August 1st, 2016. This material and witness identity and security clearance can also be confirmed by Senator Richard Black, State Senator of Virginia, and other members of Congress and Department of Defense and State Department officials upon request. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that your sworn constitutional oath as an employee, agent, and representative of the United States government is hereby accepted for the record, and as such you are henceforth notified of an urgent national security matter and crimes against the United States Constitution which requires your immediate official action to resolve. Legal notice, White House Legal Department request for action. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that pursuant to our conversation with the White House press office by telephone, we are following its explicit instruction to submit this request for action to President Trump's personal and White House legal team, including Ty Cobb and Jay Sekulow Esquires, in order to inform the White House of an immediate national security threat to the United States. Subsequently, we respectfully request the President immediately take the following actions. Number 1, consider this memorandum and all information communicated herein as privileged legal material concerning a national security matter to be shared only with the President Trump and his legal team. Be advised, this material involves President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, former National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, and Flynn's attorneys at the law firm Covington & Burling, as well as former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, personnel at the Clinton Foundation, and former and current officials at the State Department, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Department of Justice. 2, share this memorandum simultaneously with Attorney General Jeff Sessions and the Inspector General at the Department of Justice and the Pentagon, as well as all congressional committees and Inspector Generals investigating The FBI Department of Justice personnel involved in the Robert Mueller investigation, i.e. McCabe, Rosenstein, Strzok, Rhee, etc., and the Clinton Foundation, and alleged Russian involvement in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. 3. Immediately schedule a meeting between us and the President's legal team in order to provide the President with additional materials relating to these and additional activities damaging the national security of the United States. The validity and authenticity of this material will be confirmed by Virginia State Senator Richard Black, who is the key witness in the bribery corruption case involving Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, FBI Director Andrew McCabe, and his wife, Virginia State Senate candidate Jill McCabe. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that confirmations of this memorandum can be obtained from Representative Mark DeSaulnier, Democrat, California, Representative Ron Johnson, Representative Devin Nunes, Representative Bob Goodlatte, the House Judiciary Committee, Senator Chuck Grassley, and other members of Congress who we have communicated with. This material was memorialized in a video affidavit at Congressman Mark DeSaulnier's office, whom we met in person and debriefed and requested this material be immediately shared with the White House and the Inspector General back on August 1st, 2016. Mark DeSaulnier failed to do that. This affidavit given to Mark DeSaulnier may be reviewed by the President's legal team at the following link. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that this material was previously shared with members of Congress, including Senator Bill Nelson, Democrat, Florida, Representative Jackie Speer, House Intelligence Committee, Democrat, California, and Senator Dianne Feinstein, former Senate Intelligence Committee Chair, Democrat, California. And the video of this can be reviewed upon your request. Note, Representative Jackie Speer's opposition to this memorandum's materials is because she is directly implicated in it. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that in a response to this material and in an act of blatant treason against the United States, Senator Bill Nelson wrote an intentionally fraudulent and misleading letter to Chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Dianne Feinstein, attempting to conspire with her to coerce the Senate Intelligence Committee to cover up this terrorist financing report. See Exhibit 1. This letter by Senator Nelson should be submitted to the White House, by the White House, and to the congressional investigators as evidence of, quote, concealing and disguising the nature, location, source, or ownership of material support or resources, knowing or intending that they are to be used in preparation for or in carrying out a violation of 18 U.S. Code 2339A. See Exhibit 1.
This is Awaken Alliance.
detailed version of the exhibit may be reviewed at the following links. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that we hereby request a meeting with the President and the President's legal team in order to debrief the President about this essential legal evidence, documents, videos, witnesses lists for the ongoing investigation into the FBI, Mueller, Comey, Clinton Foundation activities, and provide the President with additional relevant information. This material is derived from a military report which provided conclusive evidence showing Obama administration officials were intentionally and treasonously enabling the financing of ISIS, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, and other Middle East terrorist groups using Swiss bank accounts such as Union Bank of Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Credit Suisse, and HSBC. See also Shell Game as exhibit. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that we are hereby requesting that our debriefing of the President and his legal team be conducted immediately in order to provide the President with compelling evidence which will justify his appointment of a special counsel and Inspector General Czar to investigate and prosecute this matter further, as well as expose all relevant emails and witnesses relating to former President Obama, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and Department of Justice FBI collusion in these matters. Be advised, you are hereby served legal notice that we also request you share this letter and enclosed materials with Inspector General offices and congressional committees, and immediately provide us with a subpoena to testify about this matter. Legal notice, executive order application. Be advised, you are hereby served legal notice that this memorandum and debriefing is required to execute the President's executive order issued on December 21st, 2017. Executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Legal notice, evidence of current investigations. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that this report is submitted to the White House as part of a previous 2012 military whistleblowing report titled Shell Game, and should be immediately used as evidence in the following criminal investigations. State Department approval of sale of uranium-1 after bribery from Russian lobbying involving Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Department of Justice Attorney General Eric Holder, Lanny Brewer, Loretta Lynch. 2. Union Bank of Switzerland, Department of Justice and State Department agreement, settlement, and confiscation of 19,000 private UBS bank accounts in return for the imprisonment of UBS whistleblower Bradley Birkenfeld, and illegal payments to the Clinton Foundation from UBS, Covington & Burling, and its clients Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and others. 3. Department of Justice Loretta Lynch, issuance of a fraudulent 2% fine to Union Bank of Switzerland in exchange for Clinton Foundation donations from Union Bank of Switzerland. Too big to jail was a political language developed by 2012 by Attorney General Eric Holder to conceal these Shell Game revelations and protect the financial interests of Holder and Brewer's former employer, Covington & Burling law firm. 4. Investigations into U.S.-Russian activities relating to the U.S. 2016 presidential election. 5. Democrat National Committee computer file thefts. Murder of Democrat National Committee technology staffer Seth Rich. 6. Covington & Burling, the law firm representing Union Bank of Switzerland and Gulf countries financing terrorism, coordinated communication with Hillary Clinton through attorney Stuart Eisenstadt and Jenny Reed, now on the Mueller team. Both of those attorneys served at Covington & Burling. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that these materials shall be legally viewed and protected as whistleblower documents, and as such shall be shared by the White House with the House, Senate, Judiciary, Oversight, Intelligence, and Armed Services Committees as they provide corroborating material evidence of criminal acts in the following congressional investigations. FBI Director Andrew McCabe actively colluded with Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe to unlawfully direct FBI resources and personnel to entrap Senator Dick Black in a Syrian terrorist prisoner release operation for the purposes of generating extortionist political material to be used by Andrew McCabe's wife, Jill McCabe, in her political campaign against Senator Dick Black. This may constitute fraud, bribery, extortion, racketeering, and misuse of campaign funds and other abuses of government resources and authority. Senator Black will confirm these events. 2. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Clinton Foundation President Donna Shalala, collusion with former Attorney General Eric Holder, former Assistant Attorney General Lanny Brewer, former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and Robert Mueller team investigator Jenny Reed in concealing 19,000 Swiss bank accounts used in terrorist financing and money laundering, secret illegal transfer by the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton of Chinese Uyghur terrorists from Guantanamo Bay to Switzerland, and a fraudulent 2% fine imposed against a Swiss bank in exchange for 19,000 bank accounts. The illegal arrest, prosecution, and imprisonment of the American Swiss bank whistleblower Brad Birkenfeld, who originally brought these 19,000 bank accounts to the Department of Justice after being targeted through a false DUI sting operation involving CIA analyst Edward Snowden and the CIA Ben Rhodes John Brennan in Switzerland. 4. Official State Department cables and documents written by Secretary Hillary Clinton's tenure at the State Department confirming this collusion and pay-to-play involving terrorist financing, Covington & Burling law firm, and the Department of Justice FBI implicating Robert Mueller, James Comey, and others involved in the collusion. Department of Justice Office Bruce Orr, working with former Attorney General Eric Holder and Assistant Attorney General Lanny Brewer, and former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, distributed material through the Bureau of Prisons to provoke inmate hostility against the government. This material was titled Deep Black by David Guyette and disclosed CIA Mossad drug trafficking operations and sought to recruit people from the inmate community. A motion was filed with Judge Virginia Hernandez Covington out of the federal court in Tampa, Florida, exposing this material and demanding court investigation sua sponte. Attorney General Jeff Sessions also received this report and will confirm it. Judge Virginia Hernandez Covington of Tampa, Florida, refused to do anything in this matter and therefore is guilty of crimes that need to be investigated. General Michael Flynn's attorneys at the law firm Covington & Burling deceived General Michael Flynn regarding Covington's direct participation and relationship with Union Bank of Switzerland, the Clinton Foundation, and the Clinton State Department in these matters. Consequently, Covington & Burling should be disqualified from representing Michael Flynn. An amicus brief is being submitted to the court hearing the plea agreement as newly discovered evidence indicating ineffective assistance of counsel, prosecutorial misconduct, and fraud on the court. Since this is a case of first impressions, this legal motion establishing newly discovered evidence and fraud on the court mandates the rejection of Michael Flynn's plea agreement and demands an independent investigation or special counsel be assigned in this matter by the Inspector General, Congress, and the White House. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that in order to satisfactorily investigate and correct the issues in this report, we request the President to execute his executive order authority by creating a White House-level Inspector General czar or senior special assistant position to communicate directly to the President, manage, investigate, and provide oversight to all other Inspector General offices at the various intelligence community agencies, and initiate a government-wide comprehensive interagency Inspector General special investigation into this matter in order to share findings with the DOJ, FBI, and congressional investigations, the Committees of Intelligence, Armed Services, Government Oversight and Reform, and Judiciary. This White House-level Inspector General and interagency IG coordination should be done in secrecy and beyond the awareness of the Director of National Intelligence, who is in fact a key player in the wrongdoing and must be investigated by the Inspector General. Legal notice. Government officials implicated. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that this memorandum contains names of the present and former government officials, military, and intelligence agency personnel, and analyzes their various illegal and potentially treasonous activities which must be investigated by authorities from the Congress, the White House, the Department of Defense Inspector General, the State Department Inspector General, and the Department of Justice Inspector General, as well as certain international law enforcement agencies. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that government agencies and persons directly implicated in the criminal activities include former President Barack Hussein Obama, State Department Secretary Hillary Clinton, State Department Coordinator for Counterterrorism, Central Intelligence Agency Director John Brennan, Department of Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner, U.S. Central Command Terrorist Financing, Department of Justice former Attorney General Eric Holder, Lanny Brewer, Loretta Lynch, former Clinton Foundation attorney and member of the Robert Mueller investigation Jenny Rhee, Clinton Foundation President Donna Shalala and her nephew David Shalala, Leon Panetta's former Secretary of Defense and Booz Allen Hamilton executive, James Clapper, former Director of National Intelligence, Booz Allen Hamilton executive. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that on August 6, 2015, and again on July 27, 2016, Michael Cohen, attorney to President Trump, received phone call and email communications detailing terrorist financing crimes and corruption reported in the military report Shell Game and its role in Libya and Syria, confirmed by Michael Flynn, former National Security Advisor, and James and Joanne Moriarty. Due to the explosive nature of the revelations in the Shell Game report, these communications were unlawfully surveilled by the Obama administration officials at the FBI, CIA, and NSA. Soon after, Obama administration officials fabricated false Russian collusion stories as propaganda countermeasures to these Shell Game revolutions involving the Obama State Department and CIA. It is critical to legally and politically establish this military terrorist financing intelligence connection to the unlawful Trump surveillance activity by pro-Clinton DOJ FBI personnel. A summary of this report appears below. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that this information, testimony, and documentation was originally collected by a U.S. Army officer from Human Intelligence and submitted to the Pentagon and Congress in a report entitled Shell Game on September 25, 2012. This Army officer, Scott Bennett, held a top-secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information security clearance and worked at U.S. Central Command's Joint Interagency Operations Center with multiple U.S. and foreign military and government agencies. Scott Bennett also worked at U.S. Special Operations Command as the liaison officer at the State Department Coordinator for Counterterrorism Office. Bennett specialized in terrorist financing and psychological warfare, and prior to serving in the Army, worked for the Bush administration from 2003 to 2008. And then for Booz Allen Hamilton as a defense contractor. Shell Game, a military whistleblowing report. Abstract. Be advised, you are hereby served notice that this report, written by Second Lieutenant Scott Bennett, U.S. Army, and Brad Birkenfeld, entitled Shell Game, described how Hillary Clinton, Eric Holder, Lanny Brewer, Loretta Lynch did enter into a shell game type conspiracy with Union Bank of Switzerland and Robert Wolf, Chairman of the Americas, and other UBS executives to launder terrorist financing money. Abdullah Aziz is one of the bankers, as well as commodities, assets, and enable the continuation of smuggling diamonds in the toothpaste as described in State Department cables. See Exhibit 3 and WikiLeaks cables. Hillary Clinton sought to confiscate these, quote, diamonds in the toothpaste and use them for Clinton Foundation activities and violations of law. These Swiss bank account foundations and wealth management accounts were under the control of American Swiss banker Brad Birkenfeld, and were being used by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Morocco, Kuwait, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates to finance terrorist activities in the U.S. Central Command's area of operations. As a military officer and defense contractor, Bennett was assigned to terrorist financing and tasked with the discovering of terrorist financing networks, domestic and foreign, as well as instruments and bank accounts used to fund Islamic terrorist groups. This military terrorist financing report, he wrote, may be summarized as follows. Bennett was among the U.S. Central Command analysts instructed to change the material in his reports to cover up the terrorist financing implications linked to the Clinton Foundation. Out of loyalty to his military oath to the Constitution, Bennett refused and was soon after threatened, fired, charged falsely, and then eventually imprisoned by the Obama Holder Brewer Loretta Lynch Justice Department when he continued filing his reports. See initial findings of the U.S. House of Representatives Joint Task Force on U.S. Central Command Intelligence Analysis, August 10, 2016. Executive Summary. Be advised you are hereby served notice that in 2012, a U.S. Army officer, psychological warfare officer, and State Department counterterrorism contractor with a top-secret SCI security clearance tasked with counter-terrorist financing operations filed official reports to senior military leaders and members of Congress disclosing how 19,000 Swiss bank accounts used in terrorist financing and offshore tax havens were being illegally manipulated and seized by senior officials at the State Department, Justice Department, Central Intelligence Agency, Covington & Burling Law Firm, Clinton Foundation, U.S. Central Command, and Booz Allen Hamilton. Many of these bank accounts were used in terrorist financing networks and operations and had been identified by U.S. Central Command's terrorist financing team at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. Be advised you are hereby served notice that the people involved with this illegal seizure of bank accounts include Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Attorney General Eric Holder, Lanny Brewer, Loretta Lynch, and other members of the Obama administration. Additionally, Union Bank of Switzerland and their law firm Covington & Burling and its client states, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, were conspirators in this matter. Be advised you are hereby served notice that the specific criminal acts were as follows. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton conspired with Attorney General Eric Holder, Lanny Brewer, Loretta Lynch, CIA Director John Brennan, and other parties to imprison the Swiss bank whistleblower Brad Birkenfeld, who had provided this information to the Department of Justice. In exchange for this, quote, pay-to-play operation and civil rights violation against Birkenfeld, financial donations were made to the Clinton Foundation and the State Department, then transferred terrorists out of Guantanamo Bay to Switzerland. Birkenfeld's lawyers, Jesselyn Raddick and Dean Zerbe from Senator Chuck Grassley's office have confirmed this. Be advised you are hereby served notice that the 2016 secret meeting on the airport tarmac between FBI Attorney General Loretta Lynch and former President Bill Clinton was in reality a meeting to discuss hiding the report shell game and its evidence of these UBS terrorist financing and donations to the Clinton Foundation, pay-to-play agreements, and government corruption. Be advised you are hereby served notice that Bennett's 2012 shell game report and subsequent follow-ups describe how these actions were seriously damaging U.S. national security and military personnel and were violating the U.S. Constitution and various laws relating to terrorism, terrorist financing, government oversight, intelligence materials, and numerous criminal statutes. Bennett's report clearly and irrefutably confirms how grossly and treasonously the U.S. military was misinformed by the Obama administration about these terrorist Swiss bank accounts, and as a result, thousands of U.S. military have been killed, wounded, and traumatized irreparably. Be advised you are hereby served notice that Bennett's report will be confirmed by Secretary of State James Mattis, who received the shell game report in August 2012 when he was commander of U.S. Central Command, and will be confirmed by former National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn, who was director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. James Mattis and Michael Flynn were soon after fired by President Obama from their respective commands due to their response and investigation of Bennett's report shell game. Note, Edward Snowden recognized Bennett from their service together at Booz Allen Hamilton, Hawaii, and Washington, D.C., and Brad Birkenfeld from Switzerland. And within 3 months of Bennett's revelations, Edward Snowden left the United States himself. Glenn Greenwald confirmed this in his original reports. In a Kafkaesque drama and in violation of the U.S. Constitution and military law, Florida Judge Virginia Hernandez Covington, linked to the law firm Covington & Burling, conspired to falsely charge and imprison Second Lieutenant Scott Bennett for writing his reports by creating false charges against him in coordination with the Clinton Foundation President Donna Shalala and her nephew David Shalala, who was secretly assigned to represent Bennett. David Shalala conspired with the Clinton Foundation president and his aunt Donna Shalala to intentionally fail to produce any defense of Bennett and conceal his reports. Additionally, in June of 2013, Obama, Brennan, CIA operatives Michael Isikoff from NBC News and Tom Hamburger from the Washington Post met with Second Lieutenant Scott Bennett to discuss his findings in Shellgate. Special note, Hamburger and Isikoff are the same CIA deep state operatives who released a December 8, 2017 story about Donald Trump Jr.'s alleged WikiLeaks cables. In reality, this article was plagiarized from Bennett's report, Shellgate. Michael Cohen will confirm this. The law firm Covington & Burling hired Roger Zakheim, former legal counsel of the House Armed Services Committee, as an attorney in exchange for Roger Zakheim's suppression of Bennett's military terrorist financing whistleblowing report. This report exposed contractor fraud and other crimes by Dov Zakheim, Roger Zakheim's father, and Bennett's supervisor at Booz Allen Hamilton. Military personnel were killed and wounded as a result of Dov Zakheim's suppression of Bennett's report, and therefore this constitutes treason.
I don't think I need to say any more.